Class.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in last class, I explained about components of digital image processing. Before that, I explained fundamental block diagram of a digital image processing system. Okay, these are the two things what I explained in last class. Okay, this is the fundamentals of fundamental steps in digital image processing. As I explained all the blocks, you know these things. Okay, before this, I explained the sources of digital image processing and applications of digital image processing and basics of digital image processing, definition, what is the meaning of digital image and processing. Okay, yeah, then I explained in last class the components of digital image processing. Block diagram is there. Okay, what are the significance of each block I explained. Okay, that is network, image displays, computer, mass storage, hard copy, specialized image processing hardware and the software, image sensor and the problem domain. Starts from the lower end. Problem domain will be there, okay, which are censored by a image sensors, which are given to a specialized image processing hardware. Okay, and the software means that, okay, not all the software and all the hardware can process every image. Okay, there are specialized softwares were there for processing normal digital image. Some hardwares and softwares are there to process x-rays, ct images or biomedical images. Some other softwares and hardwares were there. Okay, then all are processed by a computer or a system, okay, which contains the image displays, the mass storage and the hard copy. Example soft that cd and all. Okay, and it can be given to network also. These are the components of image processing. Okay, yeah, after this, next we have block diagram of eye. Okay, that is human eye. Okay, what exactly, how exactly images are formed on the retina, what are the components of eye. Okay, and the heading we call it as what, the elements of visual perception. Okay, what are the elements that are there for an visual perception. Okay, yeah, then we have to see the structure of human eye. Okay, this is the structure of human eye. Okay, is this visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, yeah, mute yourself. The eye is it's a spear. Okay, the shape of eye is what, is a spear shape. Okay, these are the some of the important what we call components or what muscles etc of an eye. Okay, we have a cornea, iris. Okay, yeah, then anterior chamber, this is chamber. Okay, then we have ciliary body, then lens, then we have cilia muscle, cilia fibers. Okay, this is visual axis, this line. Okay, and then we have vitreous humor. Okay, then retina, this entire thing we call it as what, retina. And blind spot, fovea, then we have sclera and choroid and nerve sheath. Okay, these are the important components of a human eye. Okay, then we have to know each and every what are the significance of each and every components. Okay, are parts of an human eye. Okay, now what is cornea? Okay, first of all we have to know about the cornea. Cornea means ಕಪ್ಪು ಕಾಣತ್ತಲ್ವಾ ನಮಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ಇದಿಷ್ಟು ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಐಬಾಲ್. ಐಬಾಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಇದನ್ನ. ಐಬಾಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ ಟೂ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಒಂದು ವೈಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಕಲರ್. ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಕಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ವೈಟ್ ಕಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಎರಡು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಕಪ್ಪು ಕಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಕಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಸಾಧಾರಣ ನಾವು ಕಾರ್ನಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ವೈಟ್ ಕಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ನ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಸೆಲೇರಿಯಾ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸೆಲೇರಿಯಾ ಬಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಯಾ, it's a what general structure of an human eye, or we call it as what, a horizontal cross section of a human eye. Okay, the shape of the human eye is what, it's a spherical shape. It's like a sphere, and approximate diameter will be of 20 mm. Okay, what is the diameter of eye, human eye? It's about 20
20 mm.
mm. And we have three membranes will be there. Okay, first membrane we call it as what? Cornea and sclera, which is a outer cover of a human eye. Okay, the outer cover we call it as what? The sclera and the cornea. Okay, then we have choroid. Okay, choroid is there here. Okay, this is second one. And we have third one, retina. There will be three membranes that covers the eye. Okay, first membrane we call it as what? The cornea and the sclera. Then we have choroid. Then we have retina. Retina is the most innermost layer of a human eye. Okay, here exactly the picture is formed inside the eye. Okay, we will see how exactly it will form. Okay, then we have a cornea. First of all we start from cornea. Cornea is a tough transparent tissue. Okay, it's a very tough transparent tissue. Okay, that covers the anterior surface of the eye. This is the anterior surface. The anterior surface of the eye is covered by cornea. Cornea is a very tough membrane or a tissue, and it's a transparent tissue. Okay, yeah, continuous with the continue with the cornea. The sclera is a opaque membrane. Okay, the sclera, here we can see the sclera. Sclera is a opaque membrane. Opaque membrane means what? It won't allow any light to pass through it. Okay, is it clear? Transparent means what? It will allow light to pass through it, whereas opaque membrane is a membrane which won't allow any light to pass through it. Example, your white part of a human eye. Okay, it won't allow any light, whereas your cornea, the black part, the black circle what you have in your eye, will allow the light to pass through it. Okay, yeah, and that encloses the remaining optical globe. Okay, we call it as what? The optic globe or a eyeball. Okay, the eyeball, certain front part is covered by the cornea, whereas the other end part, that what 70% of your eye is covered by what? The sclera. Sclera is a opaque membrane which won't allow any light to pass through it. Okay, understood, right? Okay, I will continue. Then we have choroid. What is choroid? Choroid is a it lies directly below the sclera. Okay, after sclera we have what? Choroid. Okay, this choroid is a membrane which is responsible for providing all the nutrients to the eye. Okay, as we know, the eye is made up of what? The fat. Okay, fat is there. More fat we have. Okay, and blood muscles will be there. Then water is there. Okay, and we need some nutrients for eye. Okay, nutrients ಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ ನಮಗೆ ಐ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗೋಕೆ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು. ಏನೋ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಕಣ್ಣು ನೋವು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನೀರು ಕುಡಿದ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನೀರು ಕುಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಣ್ಣು ನೋವು ಸರಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಕೀಪ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಂಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಜನರಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಕಣ್ಣು ನೋವ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನನಗೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನೀರು ಕುಡಿದ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಒಂದೆರಡು ಲೋಟ ಕುಡಿದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಿಮ್ ಕಣ್ಣು ಸರಿ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರತ್ತೆ ಅವಾಗ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ muscles are getting less amount of oxygen ಮತ್ತೆ ವಾಟರ್ ನ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇರತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಣ್ಣು ನೋವು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅವಾಗ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? ನೀರು ಕುಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it will directly allow water and oxygen to enter into the eye, and you will get what? Less pain, and pain will be what? Reduced. Okay, that is the thing. Okay, what is choroid? Choroid is a membrane which is responsible of providing or supplying all the nutrients to the eye. Okay, and it lies exactly below the sclera. Okay, yeah, and the choroid contains what? As I said, it contains a network of blood vessels will be there. Okay, there are so many blood vessels will be there in the choroid. Okay, and it serves as a major supplement of a supplier of a nutrients to the eye. Okay, and we have anterior extreme. Okay, anterior extreme will be there. Anterior chamber will be there. This is the membrane which is responsible to collect the light. It will collect a light from the cornea. It will collect light from the cornea, and it will fed onto the lens. Okay, we will see that things. Okay, those things. Okay, understood, right? Okay, then we have choroid. Choroid is normally divided into two things, that is sclera and the iris. See, you can see here iris will be there. Okay, here this iris is there. Okay, here this one, these things we call it as what? The iris, which is responsible to hold the lens. Okay, iris are the muscles which are responsible. For example, we will what if you are seeing a long distance image, suddenly if I give some book to you, okay, suddenly the I will make some adjustment, okay, to see the letters in the notebook. Okay, those adjustments will be done by the iris muscle. Iris muscle is responsible for contraction and expansion of the lens. Is it clear? ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ? ಯಾರು ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ರೈಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು. ಓಕೆ, iris is responsible for contraction and expansion of the lenses. Okay, iris are the muscles, ಅದು ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್. ಅದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಝೂಮ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ದೂರದ್ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಕಣ್ಣನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಗಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀನಿ, ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇವಾಗ ಲೈಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಚ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಿಂದ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಐರಿಸ್. ಐರಿಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಲೈಟ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಕಣ್ಣು ಒಳಗೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ಲೈಟ್ ನ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದು ನಿನ್ ಕಣ್ಣು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕಣ್ಣನ್ನ ಮುಚ್ಚಿಸ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಯಾವ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್? ಐರಿಸ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಐರಿಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಟು ದ ಬ್ರೈನ್, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಆಚ್ ಕಡೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ರೆಪ್ಪೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, and contraction and retraction are all done by the iris. Okay, it is the iris muscles are responsible for what amount of light to be enter into the eye. Okay, not all the light will enter. Okay, only the percentage of light will enter. Okay, what percentage is depends on the contraction and expansion of the iris, okay, which are directly connected to the lens. Okay, okay, then we have a central opening is there in the iris. Okay, in the iris we have some openings for there here. Okay, those openings we call it as pupil. Okay, pupil are the openings in the iris. Okay, and it varies with the diameter, for example approximately 2 to 8 mm. Okay, and we have two pigments were there. Okay, in front of the iris we have one pigment, we call it as what? Visible pigment, whereas the back side of the iris we call it as what? The black pigment. Okay, white pigment or visible pigment is responsible for the amount of light, to decide the amount of light which is needed to enter into the eye, whereas black pigment will do nothing, but it is there in the inner portion of the iris. These are the iris muscles. Okay, okay, then we have lens. What is lens? Lens is made up of concentric layers of fibrous cells. We call it as what? Fibrous cells will be there. Those cells are made up of fat. Okay, fibrous, it's a so many layers of lenses will be there in our eye. Not only single lens, we have so many lenses were there. Okay, which are constructed one upon the other. Okay, and the material and the the cells which are what are responsible for this lens, we call it as what? It's a fibrous cells. Okay, fibrous cells are the concentric are the responsible for the construction of the lenses. So many lenses were there, we call it as what? Concentric layers of lenses. Okay, okay, and these lenses are connected to, as I said, it is connected to iris and the ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles will be there, which are connected to the eye, optical outside part of the eye. Okay, yeah, and we have 60 to 70% of water and 6% of fat will be there. Okay, the lens we have, in the lens we have 60 to 70% of water. ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ ನೋಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೋ ಕಣ್ಣು ನೋವು ಬಂತುಪ್ಪ, ತುಂಬಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ಓಡಾಡಿದೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಗಾಡಿಲೆಲ್ಲ ಓಡಾಡಿದೀನಿ, ತುಂಬಾ ಏನೋ ಕೆಂಪಾಗಿದೆ ಕಣ್ಣು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ತಣ್ಣೀರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಣ್ಣು ತೊಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನೀರ್ನ ಕುಡಿಬೇಕು. ನೀರ್ನ ಕುಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅರ್ಧ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಣ್ಣು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆ? ವೈ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದ ಲೆನ್ಸಸ್ will contain 60 to 70% of water and 6% of fat. 6% of fat irutte, and more protein than any other tissue in the eye. Okay, it contains more protein. Okay, it contains 60 to 70% of water, 6% of fat, and more protein than any other tissue in the eye. Okay, it contains, and lens contains what? Water, fat, and the protein. Okay, ಓಕೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಲುಕ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸಮ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯೆಲ್ಲೋ ಪಿಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಫ್ಯಾಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಯೆಲ್ಲೋ ಪಿಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ತರ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಯಾ. ದೆನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಐ. ದ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಐ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ದ ರೆಟಿನಾ. ಇದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ರೆಟಿನಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Okay. And we have visual axis is there. Okay, normally this axis will focus on the fovea. Fovea is the area which is responsible for bright light vision and color light vision. There are two visions for there. We call it as what? Scotopic and photopic vision. Scotopic photopic vision ge this fovea is responsible. This fovea contains cones and rods. ಈ ಫೋವಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಕೋನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಾಡ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಕೋನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಾಡ್ಸ್? Cones and rods are the special type of cells which are responsible for color vision and black and white vision. Okay, normally the cones we have 6 to 7 millions, okay, of cones will be there, and we have about 75 to 150 millions of rods will be there. Okay, there are about 6 to 7 million 6 to 7 million cones will be there, and 175 to 150 millions of rods will be there. Okay, cones and rods are the special type of cells that are responsible for your color vision and bright light, photopic vision and scotopic vision, and these are the receptors of light. This area will receive receive the light, amount of light. Not only the light means what? It contains all the colors. Okay, to decide the color, everything, this fovea is responsible. Okay, and this fovea is contained in the retina. ರೆಟಿನಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? ನಮಗೆ ಫೋವಿಯಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಂಗೆ ನೋಡಿ, ವಿಜುವಲ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೆಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಫೋವಿಯಾ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಫೋವಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದು ಫೆಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, these are light receptors. Okay, yeah, as I said, it contains 6 to 7 cones and 75 to 150 million rods, and distributed over the retinal surface. Okay, is it clear? Yeah, and the visions we have what? The scotopic vision and the photopic vision. Scotopic means we call it as what? A dim light vision, and photopic we call it as what? A bright light vision. Okay, there are two visions for there. That is the scotopic we call it as what? Dim light vision, and photopic we call it as what? Bright light vision. Okay, then we have blind spot. What is blind spot? Blind spot is the area where no light will fed. Okay, it is directly connected to the brain. Okay, nerve sheath is there. These nerve sheaths are directly connected to the brain to decide the activities of the retina. Okay, is it clear? There will be no light on the blind spot. Okay, yeah. This is about your human eye. Okay, any doubt? Okay.
No, sir.
ಯಾ, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಥರ ಇದಾದಲ್ಲ ಇವಾಗ ಕಣ್ಣಿಂದು ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? ದೇರ್ ಆಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಐ. ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಲರ್ಸ್ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೈಟ್ ಹೊತ್ತು ಕಲರ್ಸ್ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಹೊತ್ತು ಏನೂ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಏನು ಕಾರಣ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದಿಸ್ ಫೋವಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಾಡ್ಸ್ ಲೆಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಪವರ್ಸ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಶೋ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕಲರ್ಸ್. ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ಲೋಕ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಳದಿ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದಿಸ್ ಫೋವಿಯಾನೇ ಕಾರಣ. ಕೋನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಾಡ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ಆಲ್ ದ ಕಲರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಕಲರ್. ಯೆಲ್ಲೋ ಕಲರ್ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ, ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ರೆಡ್ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಕಲರ್ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಬ್ಲೂ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ವೈ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಸಮ್ what we call it as what? Some lack of cones and rods in the fovea. Okay, yeah. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಏನಾರು ನನಗೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಫೋವಿಯಾ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೀಳೋದ್ರ ಬದಲು ಬ್ಲೈಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಿದ್ದೋದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ನನಗೆ ಕಣ್ಣು ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಕುರುಡ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ಲೈಂಡ್ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದ ಲೈಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಫೆಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಬ್ಲೈಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೋವಿಯಾ. ಫೋವಿಯಾ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೀಳೋದ್ರ ಬದಲು ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? ಬ್ಲೈಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ನನಗೆ ಲೈಟ್ ಫೆಡ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಕಣ್ಣು ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ human eye. Okay, what is cornea? Cornea is a transparent tissue, tough tissue, which is responsible for allowing the light inside the eye. Okay. Then as I said, the human eye or optical ball is covered with two things. That is, one we call it as what, the cornea, and second one we call it as what, the sclera. Okay, sclera and the cornea. 30% of the eye is covered with cornea, whereas 70% of the eye is covered with the sclera. Okay, and the eye is covered with three tissues, three membranes. Membrane ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಈರುಳ್ಳಿ ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. membranes ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಎ ತುಂಬಾ ತೆಳ್ಳಗಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಏನ್ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಶೀಟ್ ತರ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೆಲೆರಾ. After sclera we have choroid. Choroid, after choroid we have what, the retina. These are the three membranes which are there in the human eye. Okay, then we have ciliary body and ciliary muscles, which are where exactly your the cornea and the the sclera are connected. These are connected by two what we call it as what, the muscles, the ciliary body and the ciliary muscles will be there. Okay, yeah. Then we have the iris. Iris are the muscles which are connected to, which holds the lens of the human eye. Lens na ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಈ iris ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, hold ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. What are iris? Iris contains two these things. We call it as what, one is black pigment, one is visual pigment and the black pigment. Inside, the outside we have what, the visual pigment, and we have some small dots will be there. Outside we have what, the black pigment. Okay, white, the visual pigment is responsible to allow the percentage of light into the lens. Okay, and small openings we call it as what, pupils. Okay, then we have anterior chamber. Anterior chamber is the distance between the cornea and the lens. This distance will vary. Okay, this distance will vary upon depends upon the what we have to see. Okay, whether the what picture is nearer to you or far away from you. This anterior chamber will vary according to the movement of the lens to adjust the eye to the certain what a picture or certain distance. Okay, what are lenses? Lenses are, it's a concentric layers of membranes. Those membranes are made up of 60 to 70% of water, 6% of fat, and more protein than any other tissue in the human eye. Okay, this cornea, lens are what, it's a transparent membrane, whereas your sclera is a opaque membrane which won't allow any light onto upon it. Okay, inside it. Okay, yeah. Then we have visual axis. This is the axis exactly fed onto the fovea. What is fovea? Fovea is responsible for two types of visions. That is, one is we call it as what, photopic vision and the scotopic vision. Photopic vision means a bright light vision, and scotopic means it's a dim light vision. Okay, ರಾತ್ರಿ ಹೊತ್ತು ಕಣ್ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ನಮಗೆ, due to this cones and rods. There are about 6 to 7 million cones were there, and 75 to 150 millions of rods will be there. Okay, yeah. Then retina is there. Retina is the area where your picture is formed. Okay, ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ರೆಟಿನಾ ಮೇಲೆ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, ಎಂಟೈರ್ ರೆಟಿನಾ ವಿಲ್ ಕಂಟೈನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಏನ್ ನಾವು ಫೋಟೋ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಇಮೇಜ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದಷ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ರೆಟಿನಾ ಮೇಲೆ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ರೆಟಿನಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗಿವ್ signals to nerve sheath directly to the brain. Okay, it will convert the picture. ಓಕೆ, ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ರೆಟಿನಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್. ಸೀದಾ ಮಾಡೋದು ಯಾವುದು, ನಮಗೆ ಬ್ರೈನು ಸೀದಾ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ವಸ್ತು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀರಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಮಗೆ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಕಾಣೋದನ್ನ ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಮಾಡೋದು ಯಾವುದು, ನಮಗೆ ಬ್ರೈನು ಡಿಕೋಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ಎ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್. ಓಕೆ, and vicarious humor is there. It's a empty space, it contains water. Okay, and this is about the cross sectional view and structure of a human eye. Is it clear? Any doubt?
No, sir.
What about others?
No, sir. Doubt in the.
ಡೌಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆಯಪ್ಪ ವಿನಯ್ ಕುಮಾರ್?
No, sir.
ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಹರೀಶಾ? ಹರೀಶ್, ನಿಸರ್ಗ, ಪ್ರೀತಿ ಅಂಜನಾ, ಪ್ರಿಯಾಂಕಾ, ಶಶಿಧರ್, ಸ್ನೇಹ, ಸುಷ್ಮಾ. ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ.
ಇದೀವಿ ಸರ್.
ಕೇಳಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್.
ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯ ಮಾಡಲೇ? ಯಾರದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯ ಮಾಡೋ? ಯಾರದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯ ಮಾಡೋ? ಯಾರದು? ಹರೀಶಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಏನಿವೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ ತಾನೇ? ಓಕೆ, ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಓಕೆ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ.